Hi, welcome to this lesson. So in this lesson, we are going to be talking about the arguments object in your functions. Okay, there's an object called arguments in a function. So it's a built-in object in JavaScript, and it'll basically store all the arguments or parameters that you send via your function call. Okay. So it'll store all of them in the form of an array. Okay, and then you can access these arguments within the function. Okay, you can access them just like you would access your array items, and you can also calculate the length of the argument list, because basically they are stored inside of an array. So you can use the array.length property and you can calculate the length if needed. Okay, if there are too many arguments inside the function call, 10 plus arguments or something like that, you just can't keep up with them. You don't want to call each of them, you don't want to you don't want to receive each of them inside the function, then your arguments are the best way to access them. Okay, so that's why you have to use you can use your arguments. For example, let me create something here. Okay, let me create a function add num, just like that. Okay, all right. So let's say you're not just adding two numbers in here. Let's say you're adding too many numbers. Okay, let's create a value val sum like this. Okay, variable val sum like this, and let's call the add num in here, and let's say we are giving too many values, 66 and then 73 and then 24 and then 55 and then 78 and then 47, too many values. Okay, like this. Okay, you're giving multiple arguments in here, and I want to add each of these arguments. Okay, I can either receive each of these arguments in here, but what if I don't know the length of the argument list and so I can't receive it in here? So in that case, I can use my arguments object. So basically, let me create for this particular example, let me create a variable sum in here, and then I can create a for loop like this. Create I is equal to 0, I is less than. So basically I can just give arguments dot length, or I can say arguments of I or arguments of 0, whatever it is. This is how I can access these arguments. So I can say I is equal to 0, I is less than arguments dot length like this. So I'm saying it has to go from 0 to 1 less than the length of the argument. So basically to the entire length of go through the entire list of arguments like that, and then I can say I plus plus like this. Okay, and then inside of this I can say sum plus equal to arguments of I. Okay, so arguments of 0 would be this, arguments of 1 would be 66, so it'll keep adding all of those things. So this is your arguments object. It has to have an S at the end. Okay, please remember that. So you don't have to show all of the arguments inside of the parentheses of the function parentheses of the function definition, because you're just going to use the arguments object in here. So it's a very useful object. You'll save a lot of time and a lot of line of code. Okay, so since you're using it like this, you just don't have to keep using each of the variable inside of this and keep adding it, stuff like this. You're going to save a lot of lines of code. Okay, so what if there were like hundreds of numbers in here and you have to calculate the sum of all of them? You can't just receive them inside here, right? That's just not thinkable at all. So your arguments object would be a godsend in that particular case. So that's your arguments object. So I'll see you in the next lesson. Thank you.